Don't you ever wonder, what if everything you've ever believed, every truth you hold dear, is nothing but a grand illusion? Every single one of us embarks on the same journey, a beginning, a middle, and an end. We arrive, we live, and then we're gone. The space between birth and death? We navigate it, we understand its rules, we build our lives within its boundaries. But what about before? What about after? Those realms remain shrouded in an impenetrable mist. We know absolutely nothing. This profound lack of knowledge regarding our origins and ultimate destination leaves us with a gaping chasm in our understanding. What exactly is the meaning of us being here? If we can't pinpoint our arrival or our departure, how can we possibly comprehend our purpose? The unending echo of why. It's this fundamental uncertainty about where we came from and where we're headed that has allowed the question, what is the meaning of life, to echo through the corridors of human history, plaguing us ever since we first gained consciousness. As a species, we've never managed to deliver a definitive, objective answer. Yet, in our struggle for solace, many of us have found comfort in a myriad of ideologies, seeking to at least quiet the unsettling anxiety this question stirs within us. Think about it. For countless individuals, religion provides the framework. A divine being, they believe, crafted the entire universe, placed us within it, and our actions on earth become the currency that determines our eternal fate. For others, the meaning of life blossoms in the love we share, with friends, with family, with our cherished loved ones. Some find profound significance in the sheer act of existence itself, believing that life, in its very being, is its own justification. But then there are those who arrive at a radically different conclusion. For nihilists, life is utterly meaningless. Every action, every moment of suffering, every flicker of emotion, both joyous and painful, is, to them, entirely senseless and without purpose. Nihilism, the ideology of nothing. This is nihilism, the belief in nothing. Chances are, at some point in your life, you've grappled with these very thoughts. That pervasive, unsettling sense of purposelessness, the feeling that your life lacks intrinsic meaning or value. It often strikes when our long-held beliefs begin to crumble, right before new ones have had a chance to take root. It's that messy, exhilarating, yet often disorienting phase of growth, shedding the beliefs of your upbringing, soaking in new experiences, and actively shaping your own worldview. And almost always, these profound thoughts begin with one deceptively simple question: why? Just 3 letters, a single syllable, yet this word possesses an astonishing power. It can shake the very foundations of what you perceive as solid truth, turning them into slippery quicksand, dragging you deeper into the unsettling realization that perhaps, just perhaps, your entire life isn't what you thought it was. Stop for a moment. Take a breath. Now, truly consider your deepest, most fundamental values. And then, ask yourself, why? Why do you believe those things? Where did they originate? Who instilled them in you? Keep asking. Keep digging. Eventually, you'll reach a point where no answer remains. You'll arrive at nothing. All the religions of the world, all our astounding scientific discoveries, all our accumulated wisdom, and yet, the question why remains stubbornly unanswerable. Beyond the horizon, nihilism versus other philosophies. It is at this very juncture that the nihilist arrives at their stark conclusion: there is no why. There is no ultimate answer, no grand purpose. There is simply nothing. As the philosopher Alan Watts so succinctly put it, life is nothing more than a trip from the maternity ward to the crematorium. The term nihilism itself offers a clue, stemming from the Latin word nihil, meaning nothing, combined with ism, which denotes an ideology. So, literally, it's the ideology of nothing. But this literal translation only scratches the surface of its complex nature. People often mistake nihilism for pessimism, yet they are fundamentally distinct. Pessimists anticipate the worst outcomes. They view the world through a gloomy lens, tending to fixate on life's negatives, convinced that evil will inevitably triumph over good. Their key difference lies in this: Pessimists believe in the existence of good, they just don't believe humanity is fully capable of achieving it. Nihilists, on the other hand, believe in nothing. They deny the existence of both good and evil. In the nihilist's mind, the world simply is. Morality, with its constructs of good and evil, is merely a human invention, a label we've applied to things. Consider the classic glass half full, half empty metaphor. Optimists see it half full, pessimists half empty. The nihilist? They tell you to throw the entire cup away. What difference does it make if it's full or empty? Full, empty, good, bad, it's all irrelevant. After all, we're all going to die anyway. Nihilism is also frequently confused with cynicism and apathy, but again, these are very different perspectives, and correctly categorizing your own thoughts might be more challenging than you imagine. The fine line: nihilism, cynicism, and apathy. Cynics operate from the belief that human beings are always, without exception, motivated by self-interest. They have no faith in the purity of anyone's intentions. They see humanity as inherently selfish, perpetually striving only for personal gain. However, the very idea that humans are not good implies that, in the cynic's view, good does exist somewhere out there, just not within people. For the nihilist, however, nothing exists out there. There is no inherent good or evil. They don't label people as good or evil because they reject the very existence of those concepts. They see them simply as traits we've arbitrarily assigned. Then there are apathetic people. They simply don't care. They might acknowledge that life could have meaning, but they are entirely indifferent to it. Nihilism, conversely, is the profound conviction that there is no overarching design, no grand purpose, nothing to truly believe in. Therefore, there is no meaning. This leads us to a fascinating thought, almost a paradox of nihilism. If you truly believe in nothing, then that nothing itself becomes something you believe in. But if you now believe in something, then you're no longer a nihilist, because nihilism is the belief that there is nothing. It's a mental pretzel. Nihilism stands apart from many other philosophical ideas because it began as a literary concept before it solidified into a philosophical one. Consequently, its definition isn't as rigidly clear as many established philosophies. Different thinkers have interpreted it in various ways, leading to the categorization of different types of nihilism. Unpacking the shades of nothingness, types of nihilism. Let's explore some of these variations. First, there's political nihilism. Political nihilists believe that for humanity to truly progress, all existing political, social, and religious structures must be dismantled. They advocate for destruction as a precursor to genuine advancement. Next, we have ethical nihilism. This form rejects the very notion of absolute ethical or moral values. According to ethical nihilists, good and bad are merely constructs defined by society. As such, they argue, these societal dictates should be disregarded if humanity is ever to achieve absolute individual freedom. In essence, we can simply do whatever we please. And finally, the most prevalent form, and the one we've largely been discussing, existential nihilism. This is the understanding that life, in its entirety, has no intrinsic value or meaning. For nihilists, the existence of institutions like the state, religious bodies, and even shared communal morality represents a direct infringement on our individual freedom. If we are not absolutely free to do anything we desire, are we truly free? Or have we, without realizing it, shackled ourselves with invisible mental chains for reasons we can't even articulate? The uncomfortable why and its existential weight. I remember scrolling through Reddit one night and encountering a seemingly simple question. If you had the chance to save your pet or a stranger, who would you save? An overwhelming number of people, perhaps unsurprisingly, chose their pet. When one commenter challenged this, asking why do you think a human life is worth more than that of an animal, no one had a truly satisfying answer. People tried to sidestep the question, to rationalize, but the core why remained stubbornly unanswered. And that, right there, is the nihilist's fundamental point. If we cannot logically explain why we bind ourselves by these rules, then why do we choose to abide by them at all? Perhaps it's the sheer existential horror, the profound emotional anguish that accompanies the stark realization that life might indeed be meaningless. Pause and consider this for a moment. If life truly is without meaning, if everything we do lacks inherent value, then all the breathtaking achievements of science, the marvels of technology, the daring leaps of space exploration, the hard-won victories of human rights movements, all the immense progress we've made as a species could simply be a waste. A fleeting blip in time, utterly devoid of consequence in the vast, indifferent expanse of the cosmos. Knowing that every experience, every triumph, and every struggle ultimately leads to nothing. It's a heavy thought. But perhaps, as some might suggest, we're not obligated to comprehend the chaos of reality, but merely to find a way to laugh in its face. Nietzsche's double-edged sword of nihilism. Friedrich Nietzsche, a truly enigmatic philosopher, seemed to argue both for and against nihilism simultaneously. In arguing for it, he posited that our world possesses no objective structure or order beyond what we ourselves create. He famously declared, "Every belief, every considering something true is necessarily false, because there is simply no true world." He believed nihilism would expose humanity's cherished beliefs and truths as mere symptoms of a flawed Western mythology. His most iconic declaration, "God is dead," wasn't a literal statement about a deity. Rather, it was a metaphorical proclamation about the fading power of religious institutions and the burgeoning human desire to forge individual paths, to discover personal meaning, and to defy the established norms of his time. Yet, in the very next breath, Nietzsche warned against nihilism, predicting that in the coming centuries, its rise would inevitably propel civilization toward catastrophe. A disaster waiting to explode, a river reaching its abrupt, devastating end. When we examine some of the most destructive periods in human history, his prophecy seems chillingly accurate. Long-standing cultural traditions, deeply held beliefs, religious frameworks, even financial systems, all begin to crumble, allowing a creeping nothingness to seep in. Think about it. If nothing truly matters, if we are merely random, transient combinations of atoms, how can we objectively declare horrific acts like slavery, apartheid, or nuclear warfare as bad? How can we unequivocally label Adolf Hitler as one of the worst humans to ever live for his attempt to eradicate an entire culture? On a fundamental level, most of us instinctively understand that these things are undeniably terrible. But the danger, as Nietzsche foresaw, lies in our inability to logically explain why we feel this way. If we cannot articulate a rational basis for our moral compass, how can we ever hope to convince others to follow the same path? This was precisely Nietzsche's fear. Many still blame him for the atrocities of the Nazi era, arguing that despite recognizing the dangers, he continued to explore nihilistic ideas. However, Nietzsche believed that by enduring the societal breakdown that nihilism would eventually unleash, humanity could then forge a new direction. He envisioned a future where we would construct a new morality, one unburdened by the prejudices of the past. After all, tearing down an old house shouldn't leave you homeless. It should offer the opportunity to build something grander and better. The unanswered why in modernity. Take a moment to observe the world around you, especially the swirling currents of social media. You might just recognize the early tremors of another nihilistic outbreak in our species. Religious authority has diminished significantly in shaping moral standards. People are actively dismantling long-held beliefs and cultural practices, opting instead to chart entirely new courses for themselves. Anything, no matter how abhorrent you might find it, now seems to attract a fervent following, each member passionately defending their right to do whatever they please. And truly, why not? That is the question no one can definitively answer. Humanity continues to nudge the needle forward, ever so slightly, until one day, it may become impossible for any of us to tell another that they are wrong. Because the counter-question will always loom, why are they wrong? William Shakespeare, in his timeless wisdom, penned these poignant lines, Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, but signifying nothing. If life truly is meaningless, if our presence here serves no grand purpose, then our only rational response is to make the absolute best of this bad situation. Instead of endlessly debating whether the glass is half full or half empty, we can simply discard it and drink directly from the source until our thirst is quenched. The profound significance of simply being. Because, when all is said and done, life itself is reason enough for living. We are granted one precious life, in this reality, to mold as we see fit. To live authentically, on our own terms, requires us to constantly align our perspectives with the ever-evolving world around us. Staying informed is crucial, but let's be honest, few of us want to spend hours each day sifting through news, which can often be a disheartening experience. That's where Morning Brew comes in. Imagine getting a concise, impactful summary of business news delivered directly to your inbox, every Monday through Saturday, in just 5 minutes a day. I've personally used Morning Brew for ages, and it's an invaluable tool for keeping up with the world before my day even truly begins. If you're tired of slogging through endless articles or passive TV news, Morning Brew offers a refreshingly concise, efficient, and often eye-opening perspective. If you're keen on staying current with tech, business, or finance, I highly recommend checking it out. You can find the link in the description below. It's completely free and takes less than 15 seconds to sign up. Not only will you empower yourself by staying informed, but you'll also be supporting this channel. So, in a world that might just signify nothing, what will you choose to make it mean?